15 coming at you to give you my post-fight video for the Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather fight. If you guys watched my prediction, you guys would know that I predicted that Floyd Mayweather would win and dominate the fight and get a TKO. Obviously, he didn't get the TKO. Really, I feel like the main reason I predicted it was going to be a TKO was because of Manny's aggression. And while Pacquiao was coming forward for the majority of his fight, which took place mainly in the pocket, he was very hesitant to throw punches. In fact, Mayweather threw more punches. I don't know. That's actually, in a kind of a way, I'm kind of surprised that, you know, I did look at Pacquiao as kind of mindless, but he was smart enough to know what was going to happen if he would have let his hands go. There's definitely a, you know, when it comes to the perception after the fight, people were very disappointed. In my opinion, there's no fight that's worth $100, to be honest. So, you know, my friends and I, we always get together. We all pitch in like $5. You know, have a little house party and stuff. I think that's the way to do it because, you know, honestly, the greed within boxing is very annoying, and I don't think it's worth the money that's, you know, being asked to pay. And then just in general, you know, I have to admit that was an underwhelming fight. I expected Pacquiao to sell out, and he wasn't willing to. And I also expected Mayweather to be more aggressive at times, and he didn't feel like he needed to. And technically, he didn't. I think one thing that's definitely apparent is that Mayweather is getting old. He looked 38 in that fight, 39, whatever he is, and he's looked older in recent fights as well. That's kind of testimony to his limited offensive output. A lot of the things, you know, when you watch Floyd in his career, you'll realize he's a great athlete, in addition to him being a technician. Usually technicians are not great athletes, but he is, and he relied a lot on his athleticism in his career, even though he was fundamentally sound. And you can see that as his, you know, athleticism dwindles as he gets up there in age, it's harder for him to mount offensive attacks and getting off first in his, you know, later years. You know, as far as his offensive game being aggressive, I think we probably saw the best of it when he was like 34, you know, around that time. Of course, you know, with social medias, in the casual boxing world, or I guess casual fan world, you're gonna get a whole bunch of memes and a whole bunch of this and that. So some of the main things I've been saying is that, oh, he runs. This is obviously ridiculous. I don't even. Whenever somebody says that, I immediately know that they don't watch boxing. I find it ironic that people are so offended and find it blasphemous that Floyd compares himself to Ali, and the very things that Ali perfected and passed down to younger you know, later fighters was the fact that, I mean, he tied up, yeah, you know, hugging, he tied up, he clenched when necessary, and he used more of the ring. To me, when you think about people who are categorized as boxers, Floyd uses the ring the least. You know, if you when it comes to Sugar Ray Leonard, when it comes to Ali, they moved around a whole lot more. When it comes to Mayweather, he stands in the pocket, he takes a step back to counter, to get you out of position. And while I can understand, like, if you don't like the style, I can understand that. Everybody can have a preference of styles. Me, I pretty much like all styles. When somebody's successful with their style because they fulfill the potential of that style, I appreciate it no matter what style it is. But I can perfectly understand if your entertainment value lies within more activity and more aggression, that's fine. But you still have to acknowledge and appreciate what Floyd is doing in these fights, because, you know, I've seen Floyd be exciting. he's had exciting fights. I think we all know that. At least some of us do. Maybe not casual boxing fans who haven't seen all his fights. But the truth is, what Floyd does is that he really makes every other fighter boring. He makes exciting fighters look boring. Manny was right there. He was in the pocket. And Pacquiao was reluctant. He was hesitant to throw because he knew it was coming back. The thing about it is that when Mayweather fights somebody who has effective aggression, not only comes forward, but they sell out and they're willing to take the counter punches, they kind of accept, like, you know what, I'm going to eat some leather, but in order to win, I'm going to have to overcome counter punches, and I'm going to have to sell out and throw punches and get in there. Pacquiao, I don't feel like was willing to do that. I don't think he had the footwork, the skill to cut off the ring. I don't think he has that kind of experience to cut off the ring. So that was also frustrating. Because I actually wanted to see Pacquiao force Mayweather to fight. That's when you get your best fights out of Mayweather. Ricky Hatton Ricky Hatton sold out. I mean, he ate some check hooks, but he at least came forward because he acknowledged, like, I'm not going to whip from the outside. Pacquiao, these fighters, I mean, what Floyd does is very passively brutal. He gets a fighter to acknowledge that if you try your best, you're probably going to get beaten pretty badly. And so, internally, without knowing or knowing, these Floyd opponents, they give up in the fight. Even if they're coming forward, they've accepted the fact that if they're too aggressive, they're gonna get hurt. And so it becomes like this sparring session where where opponents just go along with the motions. Pacquiao, I mean, come on. He landed 87 punches in a fight. You can't honestly think you won. And that's another thing too. Floyd's considered like cocky and all this kind of stuff, and Manny has this perception of being humble. And if that's the case, then just say that you lost the fight. I know people are coaching him and telling him to say that you won, get another fight and stuff. But if you're truly humble, then just acknowledge the fact. Don't come up with an excuse about your shoulder, and don't try to discredit somebody's win. If you know you lost, and give congrats. And I feel like if Floyd fought with an injury, I mean, he did against Castillo with his shoulder. Say if he would have lost, he would have tipped his hat off and just say, like, you had a good fight. He was the better man, and that's what being truly humble is. Personally, and I've told my friends this. I didn't put it in my prediction video, but I've said that I thought it was gonna be like the leg cramps. I knew there was gonna be some kind of excuse for why Pacquiao wouldn't throw a lot of punches. But look at the track record. Mayweather, because of his counter punching ability, every opponent throws less than what they normally do. Pacquiao just became another statistic. He looked like a variable, X, Y, and Z. You could have plugged in any other Mayweather opponent. He made Pacquiao look like all of the rest. But yeah, like, I want you to take a look, because again, when you say he runs, he's more stationary. He's the most stationary boxer. I consider him a counterpuncher technician, but as far as boxers go, I consider him more stationary than the typical ones like Sugar Ray Leonard and Muhammad Ali. He does not use all of the ring. He gets on the ropes. He sets up traps. He pot shots. But yeah, to me, I don't ever call it running. But if you're talking about somebody being super, using the ring, check out.
That should be the key to the fight.
This is Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns.
With that stiff jab, or whether Ray can get under it and counter. That's what we should look for early. Tommy Hearns' left jab. Well, despite the fact he has 30 knockouts in his 32 victories, as you've already pointed out, he is also a very skilled boxer. Of course, the speed of foot will be expected from Sugar Ray Leonard, and we're seeing some of that excellent footwork right now.
Tim, Tommy Hearns has the height advantage, but it may wind up being a disadvantage because he trained down very, very low for this fight. Came in way under the welterweight limit. I don't think that will help him, especially if the fight goes long.
We're outdoors in Las Vegas, Nevada at Caesars Palace. Tommy Hearns working confidently here in the first round.
Mayweather does not move that much.
Finding the range as Sugar Ray Leonard, as expected, using all of that range.
Well, Sugar is really using that lateral movement, Tim, side to side, not letting Tommy Hearns get set at all.
I think the footwork is beautiful, though. I'm not hating on Sugar Ray. I'm just saying. Mayweather does not even move this much.
Landing the first good contact blow of the bout, a right hand to the chin of Tommy Hearns. No damage.
I think you get the point. When you watch Muhammad Ali fights, I think people only watch highlights or something. They must only watch highlights. This goes on for rounds and rounds. And actually, in this fight, they flip the script, and Tommy Hearns starts to move, and Leonard comes forward later. You know, I kind of wish. I feel like when it comes to fighters like Floyd, they would really benefit with having 15 rounds, or way old school 20 rounds, you know, and more. But you know, it is what it is. So those are my thoughts on the post fight. I'll be making some more videos soon. Peace.